This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
The Rambam tells us regarding Hilchos Sefira and Hilchos Tmidim Musaf and Perek Zayin Halacha Chav Hei that every night when you make Sefira, you have to make a bracha. You say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. Sheker Hashem says Tzivanu Al Sefiras HaOmer. Says the Rambam, Mana, but what if you counted V'loi Birech and you didn't make a bracha? Yatsa, and you don't have to go back and make another bracha. So the question is, of course you don't have to make a bracha. We know B'chal Torah Kula, brachas are not ma'akev. Brachas never prevent you from fulfilling the mitzvah. Why would you go back and count with a bracha? You're already yotze the mitzvah, you can't make a bracha. The Rambam doesn't say anywhere else in the whole Mishnah Torah, by the way, if you did the mitzvah and you didn't make a bracha, you don't go back and do the mitzvah and make a bracha. Why here does the Rambam feel the need to tell me that you don't go back and make a bracha? It's pshita, it's obvious. Well, explains Rav Moshe Shapiro in the Sefer Afikei Mayim on Sefiras HaOmer and Shavuos, page Kuf Yud Gimel. The Rambam is coming la'afuke, the shita of the Machzor Vitri, brought in the Avudraham. In fact, the Machzor Vitri holds that if you count it without a bracha, you could go back and make the bracha again. And the Avudraham explains the Rambam disagrees with this. The Rambam holds once you counted, you're yotze and you can't go back and count with a bracha. But you see there's a legitimate shita in the Rishonim, and that's why the Rambam has to come la'afuke, that opinion. There's a legitimate shita, and in fact that's the shita of the Machzor Vitri, that the bracha is needed, and therefore if you counted without the bracha, you go back and you count again with a bracha. Apparently, there is a very strong tzad, there's a very strong rationale to say that the bracha is part of the mitzvah. That not only is the mitzvah of Sefira counting the day, but part of it is making a bracha. In fact, we find in the Magen Avraham and Siman Taf Pei Tes of Katan Hey and the Chok Yaakov that the correct nusach for Sefira is Asher Kedeshanu b'mitzvayso v'tzivanu Al Sefiras HaOmer Shehayoim Yoim Shlishi Ba'omer, that you incorporate the counting in the bracha and you incorporate the bracha in the counting. And even though the Taz disagrees, and the Magen Avraham also says, no, say Hayoim Yoim, and the Ber Heitev he brings that even that the nusach of Shehayoim is not wrong. So apparently there is very strong basis to say that when it comes to Sefiras HaOmer, making the bracha is part of the mitzvah. Why is that? Well, Rav Moshe Shapiro explains al pi hashkafa an amazing concept, and that is, he says on page Kuf Samach Gimel that the Gemara tells us in Masechta Rosh Hashanah there are 50 gates of wisdom. All were given to Moshe except for one. That means for all practical purposes, ba'olam hazeh, there are 49 gates of wisdom, and that's because it's zeh lu'um hazeh asalakim. There are 49 gates of chachma corresponding to 49 gates of tumah. The 49 gates of tumah are represented by mayav. Mayav is gematria 49. They are the epitome of tumah to the 49th level, and Moshe Rabbeinu is on the 49th level of kedusha. Amazingly, the purpose of the days of Sefira are to overcome the 49 levels of tumah represented by mayav. By counting each day of Sefira, we elevate ourselves above one of the levels of tumah of mayav. Once we do that, on the 50th day, we're zoicha to the highest level of Kedusha, which is Leidas David himself, the birth of David HaMelech, who was born on the Yom HaChamishim, the day of eternity. Each day of Sefira, we elevate ourselves and extricate ourselves from the Tumah of Mayav. Where does Mayav come from? Light in Aramaic. Light is layit, a lashon of curse. Mayav is rooted in klala. The days of Sefira then are to overcome that klala and to enter the realm of bracha. Therefore, as part of the Sefira, we make a bracha because we're trying to extricate ourselves from the 49 levels of Tumah of Mayav. That's why, says Rav Moshe Shapiro, the Gemara tells us we need to lane Parshas B'chukaisai before Shavuos to get out, to get away, to throw away the 49 klalos of B'chukaisai, representing the 49 koiches hatumah of Mayav. But this gives us an insight into the shita of the Machzor Vitri, into the nusach brought in the Magen Avraham, that the bracha of Sefira is part of the mitzvah because the purpose of the mitzvah of Sefira is to overcome the tumah, the klala of Mayav, by elevating it and by removing it through the bracha of Sefira, not just the counting, but the bracha itself, an amazing insight into the Shita of the Machzor Vitri and the Magen Avram and the Avodah of Sefira. May we be Zoicha by counting 49 days of Sefira. May we be Zoicha to the Leida of Mashiach Tzidkenu, Ben David, Yavah V'Galenu, B'mher V'Yameinu. Amen. Agutavach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.